Hi, it's Rachel from Tea and Forget-Me-Nots. Do you have anything in your house that every time you walk past it you think, oh, I need to do something about that, and then you just keep on walking because you don't really want to have to deal with it? That is the case with today's project. Hi, I'm Rachel from Tea and Forget-Me-Nots, and I upcycle furniture and decor, and today, my stairs. So today's stairs, when I moved in, I took off the carpet because it was pretty gross, and then painted them and left them. And it's been fine, but now they're a bit grubby. So I'm going to give them a fresh coat of paint and do something that should make them look a little bit cute too. So let's see how it goes. So my very simple and plain stairs as they were. So they were painted with a really durable grey floor paint and then white wall paint on the risers. So the first thing I did is a process I don't normally need to do, and that is to sweep the thing that I'm going to be repainting. Now I have several animals, as you'll see later in the video, and keeping these stairs swept is a full-time job. So before even attempting to clean them, it was time to sweep. Then rubber gloves and cloth in hand, it was time to give them a good once over, and I did this just with some TSP cleaner and washed it off with some fresh water afterwards. The bigger thing to fix before getting to repainting was the wood against the wall had come away slightly, so I used some wood filler to fill in that gap and just make it all a little bit cleaner and smoother. It's a reasonably old house, so it's not surprising when you get things like this happening, and this is a pretty simple fix too. Onto the painting, and I didn't do the same paint that was on the stairs. I went away from the brighter white and used the same colour that I already had on the wall. It was a replica of a different wall colour that I had made up for me at my DIY shop. And the nice thing about that is then when they make up the colour for you, they keep the formula or the recipe on record so they can replicate it next time if you want any more, so that's really helpful. It's a little bit of back and forth again, as I've got two painted colours up against each other. It's not a case of being able to use frog tape for a perfectly smooth line. The stairs are just not smooth enough to be able to cope with that in general. But I'm just going with making the best of it. I don't need perfection, just good enough for me. Onto my little decorative element. I have chosen to use the new Iron Orchid Designs paint inlays called Trompollet. Sorry for the pronunciation. Which essentially means a visual illusion, which I thought was quite a cool name. I had to count how many stairs I have so that I would know where to start and where I wanted them exactly. So what I did first was cut out 4 of them and test where I wanted them with some frog tape holding them in place to see if I liked the placement and how many of them I was using on my stairs. To get the paint inlay in line across the stairs, I used a tape measure and then marked out the midpoint of the tread and the midpoint of the risers to ensure that each part was in line. The best way to use a paint inlay is to lay it into chalk paint, and of course the wall paint I used originally is not chalk paint. So what I did 1 coat of chalk paint in a colour that was relatively similar to the wall paint that I had, and I laid the paint inlay into that chalk paint. To apply the inlay, you simply have that fresh coat of chalk paint while it's still wet. Press the painted side down into the chalk paint. Don't wiggle it around too much, otherwise it will smudge. And use a mister bottle to get the back of the paint inlay wet, and a cloth to make sure that all of it is secured into the inlay. Once this one was dry, which is after about 20 minutes, and it's such a small piece, I misted the paper again and peeled it off and kept it somewhere flat so it can dry nicely so I can use it again. Onto the bit which is going to seem like quite a lot of effort, but less effort than it would have been otherwise. I painted around the details to cover the chalk paint to blend it back into the colour of the stairs. If that seems like effort, well, it's less effort than having painted the entire wall going up my stairs. So I'll take it. And the nice thing about paint inlays is they can naturally look a little bit distressed. So actually a little bit of paint here and there is not a problem. Then to seal those paint inlays, now of course the wall paint didn't need sealing, that's good to go, but the paint inlays do need sealing. I did a couple of coats of water-based spray wax just to protect those paint inlays from running if any water or liquid does get on them. As the final step, as I wasn't going to be climbing up and down all these stairs, I repainted the treads. The actual durability of the paint on the stairs was pretty good, it was just looking a bit grubby. It had come off a little bit on the grey treads, despite it being a durable paint, but actually it held up really well considering. The downside of using this really durable and tough paint is that it took a long time to dry. It was about 13 hours. So the final step was to put some skirting at the bottom of the stairs where it meets the floor, just to hide that gap. Now I found this wood in my shed, which I hoped would do the job so I didn't have to buy anything, but it was a little bit too thin because it showed up basically the wonkiness of my house and the stairs. So I had to go and buy something that only cost £2, so I'm going to paint it the same colour as the stairs so it blends in a little bit, and then I think I'm finished. So the bottom of my stairs had been looking a little bit sad and unloved, and probably this is a project I should have done a while ago, but here we are. I used a miter saw to cut all of the edges so that it made a solid base around the bottom of the stairs and the newel post, and then numbered each of the pieces to make sure that they were going back in the right place, and then painted them the same colour as the paint that I used on the risers. To attach them, I used some Gorilla wood glue, spread it out evenly across the entirety of the wood piece, and then pushed it into place and kept it there with frog tape. Frog tape was fine to keep them all in place apart from the big piece. I used the end of my wooden piece that I hadn't needed and wedged it into place so that it kept that pressure up against the stairs, and that worked perfectly. The stairs really needed their little refresh, especially with the risers, so they look so much better with a fresh coat of paint, and I really love the little additional touch of the paint inlay too. Thank you so much for watching this makeover. This is such an easy and simple thing to do, and if you're thinking, I don't want to do that to my stairs, what if I want to sell my house one day? Well then, it's paint, so you can paint over it. So it really is something to add such a lot of character and make something really unique and easy to change in the future if you want to. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye!